What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to the Nerdwide podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Haynes, with my good friend and magnificent co-host, Mr. Chris Rivers. Now, Chris, I want to put a pause here before we do anything.
Okay.
I'm going to need you to wash that shirt and wear it next week. And actually, when we do Iron Man 2 as well. Okay? I'm just throwing that out there.
So I got to wear it the next 2 weeks.
Iron Man 2's not... No. We got Incredible Hulk and stuff before Iron Man 2. So we got a little bit before we get there. So...
No, I think the chronological timeline is Iron Man, then Iron Man 2.
Well, let's just see here. You are dead by me. You're right. You're absolutely right. So it goes Iron Man 2, then the Incredible Hulk. And then Thor, then the Avengers. Okay. You know what? I apologize, but yes, so now you have to wear it for the next 2 weeks. And I just... Unfortunately, it's just how it is. I mean, I don't make the rules. So that's just, right. I mean, anyways, Chris, how have you been? I know we just talked, but the audience doesn't know that we just talked. So
I'll wear it, but I'm not going to wash it.
Okay, good luck at charm and
all. No, I've been good. We've been working some overtime at work, so that's frustrating.
Yeah. Like I told you, I think it's your fault. I think it's you.
Yeah, probably so. We did this past Monday, Memorial Day. My mom's birthday fell midweek, so we just celebrated that day. And so that's why the extra movie I watched this week was because of that.
Did you watch it with her?
Yeah, she had not seen it, so she wanted to watch it. So.
You should probably disown her then. I mean, if she hadn't seen it by, it's been, almost a year now. I mean, I don't make the rules again. I just repeat them.
Yeah, but we'll talk about that when we get there. Yeah, it's been pretty boring otherwise, I guess. Yeah. Just busy. What about you?
I mean, that's how I feel that my week has been as well. Just been real busy but boring. Like there's nothing really exciting. It's that time of the year where the sun's out more and it's hotter here in Tennessee. It's just been did a whole lot of yard work yesterday. And things of that nature, but nothing crazy. We went and watched a movie today, which was really exciting. I always enjoy going to the movies with you, and I feel like for the next month, for the next couple of months, there's at least one movie per month that we'll be watching.
Yeah.
So some on premiere night, some that weekend of, which is always exciting because it's always different to have different crowds. I feel like because we went and saw Across the Spiderverse today. I feel like me and my brother might have been some of the loudest laughs in the theater.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I can't help it. It's a different vibe than premiere nights, which is fine.
Yeah.
But it's, I definitely see what people are talking about when they said their theaters are boring, things like that. There was a kid in there. The whole time when I heard the kid speak, I was thinking of you and your experiences every time you go to the theaters. So I chuckled a couple times to myself about that.
It was on our road, too.
I know, right at the end. Come on, it was different. And there was someone like 2 seats or 3 seats down from Zach who, I think it was a kid too, and every time he'd get up, the chair would squeak. Or every time he would do something, it would just squeak. And I was like, oh, all right, Anyways, enough of that. We'll talk about the movie when we get there. Spoiler free, of course, this week. But quick housekeeping before we jump into the whole rigmarole of the show. Welcome to Nerdwide Podcast. This is episode 115. We like to break down, talk about our weekly recaps of our TV shows. This next 3 weeks, actually, we've got Superman and Lois and Gotham Knights. After that, it's TBD. We potentially will come back to our Harley Quinn show, start trying to finish that out because we only watched season 1, and there's 2 or 3 more seasons we haven't even touched yet, so... I feel like that's been since the beginning of the year. That was like January, February, I think, is when we watched that, maybe. So, yeah. I mean, time is a flat circle. And we also do a weekly rewatch, of course, these of movies, or a recap and everything like that. Some are spoiler filled, some are spoiler free. Of course, like when it's a premiere week, we do spoiler free first, and the next week we'll do spoiler filled. We're also doing this thing. We're doing our MCU rewatch. So we're doing 2 movies a week now. If you're following along, we'll catch you up on a lot of things. And if you're not, then, is what it is. And we'll go from there. But quick housekeeping before we jump into the normal run of the show. Don't forget to subscribe to get to our YouTube or podcasting service of your choice. If you enjoy the show, make sure you leave us a thumbs up or YouTube, or give us a 5-star rating on whatever podcasting app you use, because what that does, it helps share the show around, helps us out in the algorithms, and we like to be in the algorithm on the good side, so we get eyes and ears on the show, so we get more people in and talk to them, to all things nerdy like we like to do. If you don't enjoy what you see or hear, make sure you leave us a comment and let us know what we can do to improve the show. Can't improve the show if you don't let us know what is wrong. If there's a dog barking in the background of my screen, let me know so I can text somebody in the family to handle that situation. If you want to do more, you can always go to patreon.com/nerdwide. 3 different tiers for 3 monetary values for a monthly subscription. Each one has a bunch of fun little goodies and things that ascend in order. You get, of course, you get down on the bottom tiers as well if you're at if you're at the highest. And there's a lot of fun things. We got a book review coming up from one Mr. Chris Rivers about a sequel to a book he has already reviewed. So make sure you are following us for that. So a lot of fun that could go that way. I think that's all the housekeeping I can think of. So Chris, TV-wise, you been watching anything fun?
Let's see. What else did I get caught? I'm almost done with this season of NCIS Hawaii. That's all that I've watched as far as normal TV.
I think, so for me, I've been Smallville. I've been catching up on the Rewatch podcast with Tom Welling and Michael Rosenbaum. I'm watching like 3 or 4 episodes because I'd stopped watching maybe October of last year, and they do 1 a week regardless of what's going on. So I'm a little bit behind, but I'm almost getting caught up there. And then Ted Lasso, the series finale, absolutely excellent and a wonderful show. I recommend that to anybody and everybody that likes feeling good, and even if you like feeling bad, watch it anyways because it's just a great show. I cannot recommend that one enough. We're rewatching it now with Zoe, my oldest daughter, so we're 4 episodes into the first season, so really good. Suggest it for everybody. But Chris, they don't care what we've been watching, all right? They want to know about this week's episodes of our shows. Of course, the first one is Superman and Lois, Season 3, Episode 10, titled Collision Course. What a great name for this episode. Directed by Elaine Mangian, of course, done different CW-verse shows as well. And we're going back to nerdsandbeyond.com by Haley for the recap. And of course, this is spoiler-filled, so if you're not caught up, stop watching now, then come back to us. Let's see. Looks like she had a short week this week. But, it's all very contained and works really well. Start off the episode with Lois officially finishing her last chemo treatment, and she is now cancer-free. She gives a speech about how tough the process has been, not only on her, but her entire family. However, she's thankful they were there to help her throughout this process after she finally rings the bell. Lois visits Pia at the DOD to get to the bottom of her story and possibly get a confession about Lex Luthor, because we do know now that Lex Luthor was framed. They had something on him, and he's still in jail, and we knew that from a couple episodes ago about all of this. While Pia doesn't directly say she was the one behind the voice of Lex's confession, she tells Lois he's done far worse than what they got him for, so letting him out of prison would be a mistake. Lois helped falsely imprison him, though. She just wants the truth on a record. Pia ends the conversation and thanks her for visiting, but she's not to come back to visit. Sarah has been talking to George Dean Jr. more, and he invites her to the party, one that John and Jordan also decide to attend. They start drinking except for John, and Jordan tries to butt into Sarah and George's conversation. George brushes him off, so Sarah tells him to go get a drink instead so he can finish this story. Not long after the party gets raided by the police and everyone is seen scrambling and running, Sarah and George get into her car and make a quick getaway. A deer runs in front of them and Sarah swerves out of the way so she doesn't hit it, but because of how fast they are going, the car starts to flip. Before it could do any damage to them, Jordan flies in and saves them in his super suit. Awesome scene, by the way. And I knew when they were setting it up, I was like, we're about to get something really special here, and sure enough, we did. Before it could do any damage to them, I said that, George is confused, but Sarah pretends she doesn't see anything. When the police and Kyle show up asking questions, the officer ignores George's claims, but Kyle is curious and wants to know more. He asks Sarah if she saw anything, but she covers up for Jordan and tells him she has no idea what he's talking about.
So, I have a bone to pick with you.
Okay.
When they started this storyline a few episodes back, I didn't think Kyle knew.
I could. Well,
But you
so
said
here's the thing. I was gonna bring it up later in the
said,
episode. Jamie said the same thing. I was like, I could have swore he knew about all of this, and now I'm gonna have to go rewatch season 1 and mainly season 2 because I just swear like they were told as a family at some point, but I guess it was just Lana and Sarah found out. So we're gonna
yeah,
there's a whole lot of trust issues that's about to happen here, which
yeah.
is a storyline I was hoping we didn't get to, but here we are. But I could have swore he knew. Just did not know about the son. So we got a lot of fun at the end of this episode we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
Now that Mateo has filled in on everything with his parents, Bruno sends him to visit his mom. He puts special cufflinks on him that contain a cure for her cancer. After he gives it to her, he leaves, promising it won't take long to kick in. Lois and Clark are distracted by everything going on at home, that they have no inkling anything is happening with Mateo and Pia. Lois attempts to get a confession out of her one last time, but when she enters the room, Pia is completely healed. She tells Lois to break her out. Lois tries to call for her dad. Pia screams and breaks through the glass, sending him backwards. Lois helps her to a certain point, but she can't get to the private areas because she doesn't have access. Pia tells her she wishes things were different and maybe they could even be friends in another life. Really cool scenes. We knew this was going to happen, though, when we knew about Bizarro. And sure enough, Pia is out and free to do as she pleases.
Do you think that this, because he hasn't had time to see the full effects of the cure.
Mm-mm.
So do you think that she relapses and then there is
Something's going to happen, and I think that's what it is because, I mean, he's been working with it. What's his name? Henry Miller was the first one, and he had side effects and everything, and we haven't had another test subject after that. So
right?
I feel like they're trying to rush it. I mean, not the showrunners, but the Mannheim is trying to rush things, and I think that's exactly what's going to happen. So,
Do you still think we're going to get a cure for Lois, or
I think she's done. I think we're done with that now, with this last chemo treatment.
She mentions that. That's why the recap said she's cancer free, but she mentions that she's going to still have
get
surgery in 2 days.
So I don't know. I think the mastectomy will finish it all off, and we're done with it. But I would like that storyline that she gets the cure somehow, is what I would prefer. But let me send this text message real quick. Please,
Unbelievable! Right in the middle of a show.
Please get Fury before this giant baby bursts in.
He just wants us to get to the movie so that he can hear about his namesake.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is, and he wants to be a part of the show. Lana pulls out all the stops for the governor, who's making a special visit to Smallville. She spends the whole day with Lana, learning more about her and her mayoral campaign. She finds they have many similarities, including the fact they are both cheated on, which makes it particularly awkward between Lana and Chrissy. The whole scene with all of them was very awkward, and I loved it. That evening, as they're having dinner at the diner and sharing stories, Kyle comes in and Chrissy perks up, stands up first. The governor notices this as Chrissy lets Lana know it's for her. Kyle fills her in on Sarah getting a DUI and says they need to talk about it as a family. The governor sees Sarah in the back of the police car and asks Chrissy if that's her daughter, but Chrissy pretends to be clueless. She then asks Chrissy if that's her ex-husband. Why does she jump up first? Chrissy stays quiet. And now for probably one of the best parts of the show. After the accident, Kyle tries to piece together who has been at the center of the heroism in Smallville, if not Superman. He tries to talk to Lana and Sarah about it, who both brush him off, so he heads to the Kent residence instead, connecting the dots. That's my saying here. He tells Clark he knows Jonathan is the one with powers. He was at the party and at the site of the fires. Clark vehemently denies his son's involvement, but Kyle pushes him further. And as this is happening, Clark hears people screaming and he knows he has to leave, but Kyle will not let him. Ever since the Kents have moved back to Smallville, things have changed and there's been more superheroing around. Clark forcibly pushes him back with 2 fingers and promises to tell him everything tomorrow as he jumps up and flies away, leaving Kyle bewildered. But this begs the question, now that Kyle knows Clark is Superman, or at the very least has superpowers, is he going to be the thorn in his side? Kyle isn't yet aware that his ex-wife, daughter, and girlfriend all know about the Kent family secret, so is he going to help keep it quiet too?
I mean, this is kind of a... It's really interesting, right? Because he just, number one, Kyle should never be a detective.
Correct. I mean, that's why he's a firefighter.
he has pinned it on the wrong brother. He's taken a while to put this together. Chrissy, he tells her about it, and she refuses to run with the story. She's like, nah.
And there's nothing there.
There's not enough evidence. She's like, that could be Freon.
Right.
He's like, if it was Freon, I would have smelled it. She just dismisses it.
We're setting up a Kyle sort of a villain arc coming up because everybody he thought he could trust knew about this and is hiding this from him. So I'm curious to see where this goes. I could have swore he knew, and I'm going to find out why I thought that. Just so wait till next week's episode.
I wonder if they end up, which we don't know if the show's coming back.
Right.
But I do wonder if they write him off.
I hope they don't write him off.
Well, the reason I'm thinking that they might is I could see he and Lana, they split. They never, hardly ever, she was on this episode, they hardly ever have the other daughter on there. So they could just have, he takes her to Metropolis to raise her, and Sarah and Lana stay in Smallville.
Right. Can't trust anybody, so we're going to go somewhere else.
It'll also help keep cost of the show down.
That's true.
To lose a cast member.
I wonder if I think he's producer.
Is he?
Eric Valdez. Pretty sure he's producer of the show. I want to double check career. No, I guess he's just portraying it. Oh, he was in Far Cry 6. Okay, well there you go.
Random, but okay.
Well, So, I mean, again, very good episode. I'm really excited to see where we go from here now that he knows the secret. I mean,
I'll be honest, each week when we watch these, I watch Gotham Knights first.
Get that out of the way.
Yeah.
Just go and get that out of the way.
I'm going to need Superman and Lois to cleanse my palate a little bit.
And raise it up and make it even better. Speaking, go ahead.
I do like where the show has gone though, and the thing too is one thing that the recap didn't mention. You have a scene at the party where Jordan tells Sarah that he's sorry that he ever fell in love with her. She says, "Yeah, me too," and walks off.
Oh, it's so bad. I feel so bad for that kid.
And then he saves her. And he's stuck around so that she would see it.
He did just so she would know who to thank.
Yeah. And she gets this look on her face like, yeah, I'm probably messing this up.
With George Jr.
Yeah.
She's like, she said, his dad just give him some credit. Still doesn't mean he's not a jerk. And I mean, oh god, and the whole jerky part of this episode too, with the Clark being so excited to hang out with the boys, and then both of the boys just throwing him off, and he's like, "Oh, I got tickets to the essentially the WrestleMania or the Royal Rumble and everything," and he's like, "Oh, we got tickets. We used to love to go," and they're like, "Oh no, we got something else, small little get together to get to," and oh, terrible. I felt so bad for Clark. Being a teenage dad, I know that feeling, and it's just not okay. Anyways, we got 3 more episodes of both of our shows. Hopefully we hear something soon about either renewals, cancellations, or something. But I mean, I don't understand why this would be canceled. If anything, this needs to come back on Max. Gotham Knights, I understand, unfortunately. But,
well, I would like to see them renew that too if they kill off Turner.
Yeah. Thought we were getting our wish this episode, but of course not. Anyways, Gotham Knights episode 10 titled Poison Pill. This one is directed by someone I don't think we've ever heard of before. Elizabeth Henstridge. Never heard that name.
Doesn't sound familiar. No.
Of course, ladies and gentlemen, that is, I've already forgot her name from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Simmons. Agent Simmons from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And she's gone on to direct a bunch of things since then, including a lot of our CW shows. CW Verse shows. So, Good for her. We are going back to thefugitives.com, and of course, this is by Siddhartha Das once again. Let's see. All right. I want to make sure we're starting the spot. They kind of recap a little bit of the last episode. All right, here we go. The rest of the team members try their best to aid Turner, who is burning up with a fever in every way possible, but are clueless about the necessary steps to be taken because of Electrum's involvement. After going through some research, Harper considers the possibility of radiation poisoning, and a Geiger counter confirms her suspicion, which they have got everything at this school, and the budget for it must be insane. However, it seems that the radiation poisoning of the Electrum only affects the members through exposure to bodily fluids, as none of the members except Turner show signs of radiation. After researching more, the Rowe siblings find out that Electrum poisoning becomes fatal within a day, and Turner has just hours to live if they are unable to come up with a solution soon enough, and Chris would have been extremely excited. Harper speculates that a blood transfusion might save Turner's life, as an influx of regular blood might lessen the quantity of Electrum in his blood to let him heal without poisoning him. Stephanie is of the opinion that Turner needs medical assistance immediately, but Harper protests, saying it'll expose him to the authorities. Carrie comes to rescue by hatching a plan to seek her doctor and brother's assistance. While searching for his pain meds in his father's Lincoln March is safe, Brody finds out that the owl mask and the lapel pin of Turner's coat were spyware cameras. Where has this kid been all season? I know he was like in 2 episodes at the very beginning, but nowhere ever since. And again, it might be a good actor, just not directed well. Not really directed well. Just Brody was also like he's on the same wavelength of Turner for me, just not the best. Brody informed, let's see. After looking through its recorded video, Brody sees the death of Cressida Clark at his father's hand. Brody informs Stephanie about this, who in turn reveals that Lincoln is the leader of the court, much to Brody's disbelief. Stephanie requests that Brody provide the lapel pin footage and advises him to keep his mother, Rebecca, safe and moving away from Gotham. Stephanie returns and informs the team about the recent developments that procuring the footage will help them hold off the court accountable for all the crimes they have pinned against the fugitive teenagers, and finally they will be free. The members are ecstatic hearing this, and as Harper talks with her brother about future prospects as they clear their names, she gets to know that Colton has grown quite affectionate of the team and loves the life of vigilantism. He actually really just enjoys the family aspect. He said, "We never had a family before, and I want to stay because I found my family." Very good. The Colin has been a surprise hitter for this whole series for me. Yeah. At first, wasn't really a big fan of that storyline, but I really liking him and the whole Harper, will they, won't they, Stephanie fiasco, but which we see at the more so in this episode.
Yeah.
Even after escaping from the court's clutches, Turner is tormented by the memory of their torturous methods. Carrie approaches Turner to check up on him and learns about the vision he saw during the court's torture sessions, and also about the fact that they try to convince him about Bruce's involvement with his birth parents' death. Carrie can no longer keep what she has learned from Bruce's journal a secret and brings Turner the pages that she has stolen from it, which also indicates that Bruce feels guilty due to some reason for Turner's parents' death. Again, I think this is a whole being misconstrued situation going on here. It's not really what the court was saying. I think it's just told from that lens, and I don't think that's really the case here. The whole world comes crashing down around Turner, and he feels as if his whole life is a complete lie. Aghast at Carrie for keeping a secret away from him for such a long time, Turner refuses to listen to her reasoning that whatever she did was to protect him from emotional hurt after Bruce's death. Turner berates Carrie and asks her to leave, moping in silence all alone. Later, Dwell arrives to check up on Turner and tends to him, and the team finds out that Turner's poisoning situation is aggravating rapidly. To make matters worse, Lincoln had sent the police to follow Brody's trail, and after his meeting with Stephanie, they reached the Belfry to search for the fugitives. The team, well, that's not how that happened. The team barely manages to escape with Turner, as Stephanie's able to distract the authorities for long enough. What happened was, the court knew that Turner would be radioactive, and so they've been searching pockets of the cities for high-density radiation, and they led it back to the Belfry. They didn't tell Stephanie. He didn't know she met with Stephanie. Anyways, we might have to find a different source for a recap here. Carrie sneaks Turner into the Gotham hospital and asks for her mother's assistance in the blood transfusion, although Dr. Kelly gets shocked after seeing the fugitive wanted for murder, Turner Hayes, lying unconscious on the bed. She decides to save his life. After the procedure is done, Turner is healed, and Carrie sneaks him out precisely again, but Dr. Kelly is unwilling to let Carrie or herself be an accomplice to murder and goes to inform the authorities. Now, this is something I thought we were going to wait till later on at the season, but here we go. Oh, excuse me. Out of options, Carrie reveals her association with the Fugives and her identity as Batman's sidekick, Robin. Back at the Belfry, Turner shares his emotional crisis with Duella, and her no-nonsense, honest approach wins him over, and the duo make out. Which, they do other things. All right, we're just going to just say make out is what we're going for. Yeah. Meanwhile, the whole B-plot story to this whole episode. As Harvey goes through his recorded videos, he finds out that his other self is calling him out and asking to meet in the space between his consciousnesses by overdosing on his anxiety-relieving medicines. Harvey does so and meets with his other self in the aforementioned place, who states that he has accompanied Harvey at every turn in his life. Right from this moment, his psyche broke thanks to his abusive father. The other states that the court somehow knows about Harvey's personality disorder and triggered it by using the musical cue to which Harvey's painful childhood memories were attached. However, the other is now interfering with Harvey's life randomly with a very chaotic demeanor, and which is very uncharacteristic of him and demands control from Harvey. Although Harvey has unknowingly lost track of time in the moments when the other has previously taken control, the latter assures him that he isn't responsible for the murders at Cressida Clark or Mayor Hill, which were done by the court. Harvey learns that the court is trying to frame him by shifting the blame of their crimes onto him, just like they did with Turner and previously with Joe Chill. But the other assures him that as long as Harvey relinquishes control of his psyche to him, handling the entire ordeal shouldn't prove to be a problem. As the other continues to boast of his past actions, Harvey learns that it took control in the past to orchestrate his father's murder, which for so long Harvey thought was an accident. And enraged, Harvey attacks. It seemingly chokes his other persona to death, which states till his last breath that Harvey will beg for his interference in the most vulnerable moments. Harvey's secretary, Aja, spots him convulsing in the physical world, calls for medical assistance, and Harvey returns to normalcy. Dr. Chase Meridian asks Harvey to get a checkup, which he politely refuses. The other self is creating Harvey's subconscious as a defense mechanism, and Harvey's not likely to get rid of it except through therapy. The court is likely to exploit him by painting it in his worst possible condition, and like the Dark Knights, Gotham's White Knight is going to disappear forever. Now, Brody returns home and shares everything he has learned from Stephanie with his mother. Rebecca seems to be in disbelief, but Brody's earnest requests convince her somewhat, and she agrees to leave her town with her son. As Brody packs up and prepares to leave with Rebecca, he gets stabbed to death by her as she reveals herself to be the true leader of the court. Lincoln arrives and gets a bit taken aback by the situation. It's strange that a ruthless and vicious person like him can even feel something for his son, after all, with whom he supposedly had a strained relationship. Rebecca chastises Lincoln for leaving evidence behind and failing to nab the Gotham Knights, and she orders him to eliminate Stephanie Brown. Rebecca also misdirects the team by sending Stephanie a text from Brody's phone that states the evidence has been seized by Lincoln. Yeah. However, Chris, before we finish, Episode 10 ends with Lincoln driving his son Brody's coffin out of their house, and as he taps on it, Brody wakes up, signifying that an electron was used by Lincoln to revive him. With only 3 episodes remaining in this season, the series is getting even more exciting every week, with character dynamics will play a key part in our memorable final lap.
It was a nice twist to have it be Mrs. March.
Yes. Who we've seen throughout the whole show. We just thought was a damsel in distress.
Right. I'm not sure that the Harvey that we think won actually won that struggle.
It's what I'm curious about.
I'm kind of thinking it was the inner Harvey.
Mm-hmm.
Turner? This should have been it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really
the one thing that really bothered me with that character, and this is, I hate to say it, but this is directing, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's lying on the sofa. He's got a temperature. He's obviously not completely lucid, right? He's kind of in and out. And they're talking about this plan, and all of a sudden he sits straight up and he's fine.
Like it was nothing. It killed me, dude. It really killed me.
What's going on? Why is this happening? It sucks because they're going down that road with Duella, who's one of the better characters on the show.
Yes.
So if they did kill him off, what do they do with her?
That's the question.
Unless they spin her off, she blames the Knights, and becomes their top nemesis because she knows how they think.
I'm going to let you know though. Next week is a heavy duel episode. May or may not see who her mother is.
Ooh.
So
well, and we know she's somehow connected to Harvey.
Mm-hmm. So I wonder who it is.
Yeah.
It's gonna be exciting.
It'd be Brody's mom.
Could be Brody's mom, and they're all connected. Joker's daughter somehow. Anyways, Chris, it's time for the fan favorite. Oh,
wait a second. What if her mom was Turner's mom?
And another Luke and Leia situation going on here. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the fan favorite heroes and douche canoe of the week. Each week we go through our episodes of our TV shows. We pick out who the hero was out of all of them, or who the douche canoe was. We started with hero last week. Let's start with douche canoe this week. Superman and Lois. I would like to make an argument for Bruno Mannheim for getting his son wrapped in all this, and them not caring about Mateo. They said, or even Pia was like, "Oh, we'll handle it. We'll be fine. We'll take care of it. We'll protect our son." And I'm like, but he wants a normal life, okay, guys? He's fallen in love with a superhero. So that's my pick for Superman and Lois.
Yeah, I can see that. I think you could make a case for Kyle, just from the standpoint of leave it alone.
Yeah.
Have someone helping you.
Yeah, like I understand the whole mystery part of it, but there's no point of going over to someone's house and accusing someone's son. Like, if everyone had come up to me and started pointing their finger doing that whole hoopla that he does, I'll be like, we're not playing that game. We're not doing that. Because that's just not okay. Gotham Knights.
What?
I would like to say Miss March.
Yeah, I mean, she stabbed her son.
She killed her son. I mean, it has been duping us all along. So, if you're okay with it, Mrs. March is our douche canoe of the week.
I'm good with that.
All right. Hero of the week. Superman and Lois, I would like to propose Jordan. Good. That's just a really cool fight scene. Or you could also say Jonathan for not drinking and driving, only drinking water at the party. Because technically Jordan was drinking and flying. So I mean, I don't know which one's worse, but
well, it depends on if you can fly as well. You know.
Yeah, that's zigzag. You know.
You could also probably make a case there for Sarah for keeping her mouth shut. Even though what she did that was kind of...
Yeah, she did a DUI throughout this whole thing. So, I mean, it takes her down this episode. Chrissy, maybe.
Lana also kept quiet.
God,
she wouldn't tell what was going on. He's going to be pissed.
Just tell the guy. I mean, come on. I know it's in the script. Just tell the guy. Which I thought he already knew. Gotham Knights. Carrie is a good good one. She came out and said Robin. Let's see.
Throwing the GCPD off the track.
Yep. Oh, Carrie. You could do Carrie for the Robin thing, and you could do what's her name, blonde-headed girl. Stephanie for just smoking a bong, ripping a bong right through the belfry. I'm debating between Carrie and Jordan for my pick here. Let's do it. I like Carrie. I think Carrie's my pick on that one.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Carrie.
Even though she saved the character we want off the show.
Yeah, you know, it's... Yeah, and she stood up to her mom, too, because she hadn't stood up to her this whole series either. Yeah. And she's like, no. These are my friends. And yes, I might be with them, but I'm also Robin. So his dad was my mentor. So, which still needs to see more of. I feel like she's not really in the limelight a lot. Which she needs to be.
Like a flashback showing him.
Yes, training. A whole episode. They can't put they can put the Batman show character in this. But anyways, no releases this week. Again, it's summertime for TV, so we're not going to get a lot of shows at
And
all.
there's a writer's strike.
And there's a big strike going on right now, which is also going to affect a lot of things going forward. But other than that, that is all I've got for our TV this week.
Cool. Well, it was fun.
That was fun. We'll talk to you next week, ladies and gentlemen. That is all, and nothing else to talk about.
Movies. We're going to talk about movies. Have you watched anything else?
I may or may not have watched half of Into the Spiderverse again. So, just because
Not sure.
it's a great movie. No, I did. I did. From the point where he suits up to the end of the movie. It's just chef's kiss. Absolutely perfect. And it's one of those movies I just can't stop thinking about. So, what about you, Chris?
I did, as I said earlier, it was my mom's birthday. It was Wednesday. We celebrated Monday, and she'd not seen Elvis before, so we watched Elvis. I liked it just as much the second time. I kept it at 5 stars. Yeah,
It's a great movie. I wish I could watch that again and not have any recollection of it. It's one of those movies.
yeah. You'd like to be able to watch it every time for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, hey, maybe as you get older, you'll be able to.
Stop it. Oh, man. Just see myself in a nursing home or something. Oh, man, this is a great movie. I've never seen this before. Hey, Grandpappy, you watched that 13 times with us back in, oh, okay.
You say so.
If you say so, old man. Oh, man.
All right, which one of these do you want to talk about first? Because we have 2 movies to recap.
Let's do Captain Marvel first. Let these kids wait a little bit before we talk about a good one. Or not a good one.
Well, plus we're not going to do spoilers for Spider-Man, so it'll be a fairly quick discussion. I'm going to pull the synopsis from Wikipedia. Their synopsis just seems to usually be more
The best
detailed
one, yeah.
than like IMDb or whatever.
Maybe 3 sentences and calling it.
All right, so Captain Marvel, if you haven't seen this before and you haven't watched it and you plan to, pause, go watch the movie. It's on Disney Plus, and then come back and finish listening. Unless you're listening while you're driving, in which case, I don't know what to tell you. In 1995, on the Kree Empire's capital planet of Hala, Star Force member Verse suffers from amnesia and recurring nightmares involving an older woman. Yanrog, her mentor and commander, trains Verse to control her abilities, while the Supreme Intelligence, the artificial intelligence that rules the Kree, urges her to keep her emotions in check. During a mission to rescue an undercover operative infiltrating a group of Skrulls, alien shapeshifters with whom the Kree are at war, Verse is captured by Skrull Commander Talos. The probe of Verse's memories leads them to Earth. Verse escapes and crash lands in Los Angeles. Her presence attracts S.H.I.E.L.D. agents Nick Fury and Bill Coulson, whose investigation is interrupted by a Skrull attack. Verse recovers a crystal containing her extracted memories in the ensuing chase, while Fury kills a Skrull impersonating Coulson. Talos, disguised as Fury's boss, Keller, orders Fury to work with Verse and keep tabs on her. Was it Verse or Veers? Is that how they pronounce it?
Veers. Like
Veers.
Yeah, Veers, yeah.
Yeah. Using her extracted memories, Veers and Fury go to the Project Pegasus installation at a U.S. Air Force base. They discover Veers was a pilot presumed to have died in 1989 while testing an experimental light-speed engine designed by Dr. Wendy Lawson, whom Veers recognizes as the woman from her nightmares. Fury informs S.H.I.E.L.D. of their location, and a team arrives. Fury realizes Keller is Talos and helps Veers escape in a jet with Lawson's stowaway cat, Goose. They fly to Louisiana to meet former pilot Marie Rambeau. Maria Rambeau, the last person to see Veers and Lawson alive. Rambeau and her daughter Monica reveal that Veers is Carol Danvers, who was once like family to them. Talos, arriving unarmed, explains that the Skrulls are refugees searching for a new home, and Lawson was Mar-Vell, a renegade Kree scientist helping them. Talos plays a recovered black box recording from Lawson's jet, prompting Danvers to remember the crash. Yon-Rogg killed Mar-Vell to prevent her from destroying the engine before the Kree could recover it. Destroying the engine herself, Danvers absorbed the energy from the ensuing explosion, gaining powers but losing her memory. Danvers, Talos, Fury, and Rambeau locate Lawson's cloaked laboratory orbiting Earth, where Lawson hid several Skrulls, including Talos' family, and the Tesseract, the power source of Lawson's engine. There, Danvers is captured by Starforce and interfaces with the Supreme Intelligence. Danvers removes the Kree implant that suppressed her powers during their encounter, allowing her to reach her full potential. In the subsequent battle, Fury retrieves Goose, who's revealed to be an alien Flerken. Goose swallows the Tesseract and scratches Fury, blinding his left eye. Danvers destroys a Kree bomber, forcing Kree officer Ronan the Accuser and his squadron to retreat. Danvers overpowers Yon-Rogg and sends him to Hala with a warning for the Supreme Intelligence. She then departs to help the Skrulls find a new homeworld, leaving Fury a modified pager to contact her in an emergency. Fury drafts an initiative to locate heroes like Danvers, naming it after her Air Force call sign, Avenger. In a mid-credit scene set in 2018, the activated pager is being monitored by the Avengers when Danvers appears looking for Fury. In a post-credit scene, Goose climbs onto Fury's desk and regurgitates the Tesseract. There you go.
There's a lot of good moments during this film, and I got a lot of chills during it.
There really are.
Because all the callbacks, and of course, rewatching this now in chronological order, that set up a lot of the future, including the Marvels, which is coming up here in November of this year.
Right.
And do you think we get Core, whatever his name is, back? Because, I mean, Jude Apatow. All right, that's it. No, it's Jude Law.
Jude Law.
Do you think we get him back? Because, I mean, she left him alive and sent him back. So,
I think so.
Let's see, Letterboxd. I want to see what I originally gave this movie.
I kept it at 4. I didn't have it rated in Letterboxd yet.
I don't either. I just have it watched.
So I gave it 4 stars.
Yeah, I gave it. Yeah, that's where I'm at 4. That's my list. I want to make sure I'm adding it to the right thing here. Do you remember what you had last week for Captain America? I want to say. Let me see what I wrote down.
I want to say it was 4.5, but.
Okay, that's what I had 4. So that 4.5 sounds right.
Let me check.
And you were at 4 for this one. I was at 4 for this one.
I had 4.5 for Captain America.
Okay, we can make that there.
But this is another one of those films where Marvel just hitting on all cylinders.
Yes.
Perfect cast. Brie Larson's perfect for this role. They did it right, and I'm hoping it means good things going forward for this character and the ones around it.
Right. Well, certain characters we see grown up, we know, works really well.
Right.
And which leads me, Chris, I know I wanted to start doing this last week, and we talked about it earlier at the movies. I want to start doing like all these Easter eggs for these movies because there's things we miss, things that call back, call forward, crazy things. So I'm going to go through. I'm going to BuzzFeed, which for weirdly have all the best Easter eggs that I could find, and like detail some dumb Easter eggs. But the first one here, Stanley's Cameo, which is his last cameo, which is heartbreaking. And I forgot at the very beginning that little MCU little logo treatment was all Stanley cameos. Heartbreaking. Completely forgot that was there. And his cameo when she's walking across the bus, Brie Larson, gives an extended look and smirk to him. Mm-hmm. And just very well done. Anyways, it's His cameo in Captain Marvel involves him reading the Mallrats script on a train, meaning that Mallrats and Stan Lee himself exist in the same universe, which we knew.
Yep.
Also, during Carol's high-speed scroll chase, she bumps into Kelly Sue DeConnick on the platform. Kelly is responsible for turning Miss Marvel into Captain Marvel, we know today as the comic book writer. So, pretty cool that they put the comic writer in there. Some dumb blockbuster stuff here, like of the movies that was in there. I mean, Blockbuster was there. Talos drinking a soda after breaking into Maria's house is a reference to Samuel L. Jackson's character in Pulp Fiction. When Monica is changing Carol's suit's colors, she briefly changes them to green and white, which were the original Kree colors in the comic books. Let's see. That's not very relevant. Not really relevant. Okay, there's also a theory, which is a huge theory going around, by the way. We've got Secret Invasion coming up later this year, so I'm very curious to see if this gets explained in there. There's also a theory that Nick Fury is a Skrull because he was seen cutting a piece of bread diagonally in Age of Ultron. Of course, in Captain Marvel, we learn that Fury never eats his toast cut diagonally.
Mm-hmm.
So, because he says in the movie, if toast is cut diagonally, I can't eat it. And we see him cut it diagonally in Age of Ultron, which is a big Marvel theory going around, which I can see it, and I hope they kind of talk about it in the Secret Invasion show, hopefully.
So then that would beg the question, where's Fury at?
Right. What's he been up to and where? Because in Far From Home, he's on the ship, and Fury was Talos that whole time in that one, which I love it. Like, I love Talos and Nick Fury's relationship this whole movie. And I'm excited we're getting more of that. I really do. Dr. Wendy Lawson's Project Pegasus was actually mentioned in Iron Man 2 when Tony asked Jarvis for info on it. Quote, I need some things out of storage. Give me everything from Projects Pegasus, Exodus, and Goliath. Which I don't think we know anything about Exodus or Goliath yet. So, if we do, I don't remember. No, yeah, we know about Goliath. Goliath was Ant-Man. With Hank Pym back in the day. Before he got kicked out of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Okay. We don't know Exodus.
We don't know Exodus yet. Also, the Project Pegasus bunker from Captain Marvel is similar to the one we see in the Avengers when Loki steals the Tesseract. Fury losing his eyes. Ghost is even funnier. I remember that in Captain America Winter Soldier, he said that last person he trusted caused him to lose his eye. I don't think that was meant to be taken literally, because I mean, he loved the cat. I don't know about trusted. That was kind of like a situation in the plane. Anyways, we see Fury's shield identification card on his badge shows he has level 3 clearance. In present day, Fury has level 10 clearance. Here's the big theory that people have been talking about, and I don't know if it's been confirmed or not. I think it has been. Some fans think that the shooting star that Carol and Monica see in one of the flashbacks is actually Peter Quill on top of the Ravager ship shooting off to space. Because if you map out the timelines, it matches up.
Kind of cool.
So that was kind of a nice little callback. Some people are saying. In the flashback, you can also see Maria's call sign while the Air Force was Photon. I wonder where that's going to come into play. Of course, we learned that Dr. Wendy Lawson is actually Mar-Vell from the Kree, but in the comic books, Mar-Vell is actually a guy, and he was the first person to use the superhero identity, Captain Marvel. In the comics, Torfa, the planet where the Skrulls take refuge, has a toxic atmosphere caused by vibranium. There's a theory going around that maybe Torfa is where the meteor that struck Wakanda originated from. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Fury revives Coulson the same way Jan Rog says he revived Carol, which was a transfusion of Kree blood. And finally, the dedication that appears in the Captain Marvel credits is from Agent Stephen Cajun Del Bogno, who passed away in 2018. Del Bogno was one of several Thunderbirds who helped Brie Larson prepare to play Carol. So, I gave this film back in the day, I want to make sure, my brain is all over the place, a 4. It's great. Again, sets forth a lot of things, and then the post-credit scene is always great. Of them saying, the beeper thing just automatically turned off. Captain America's like, hey, let's get this thing powered back on. He said it for a reason. And then he turns around, and who is there but Captain Marvel? Where's Fury? Black screen. Just loved it. And then it says Captain Marvel will return in Avengers Endgame, which was the next movie that came out. So, oh man, good stuff. I loved it. I'm ready for the Marvels after watching this, and of course Miss Marvel at the end of last year. So we're gonna have some fun. I just know that's for sure. Especially with Brie Larson.
Yeah, it's gonna be just the preview we've seen so far.
Mm-hmm.
For the Marvels,
which you could check out on Nerdwide Reacts of our reactions and talking over it and things like that. So
right. Yeah, I mean, there's not much to say. I mean, if you've seen it before, the performances are good.
Mm-hmm.
Story lines up. There's no Turners in this movie. So.
It doesn't take much.
Yeah. Goose is probably one of my favorite characters.
Yes, and I'm glad he's coming back too.
Yeah. Next up, we have Spider-Man Across the Spiderverse. I had to make sure I got the right title.
Because it's all very confusing.
Yeah. First it was Into.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's Across.
Third is Beyond.
Third is Beyond in March.
Oh, I just wish it was next
March.
week. But they want to compete with themselves. I understand.
Yeah. So, the plot of this. I want to make sure I describe it without spoiling. Basically,
let's see.
I'm
gonna see what IMDb has it. IMDb Across the Spider-Verse. Yeah, that's a good one.
Okay.
Which, if you have not seen the movie yet, do not IMDb it. Because there's some surprise cameos that don't get spoiled for you. Because they weren't spoiled for me, and I'm glad they weren't.
Right. Okay, let's see. IMDb, where you at? Lee. This is it accidentally. Let's see what it did. Here we go. All right. There we go. Miles Morales catapults across the multiverse where he encounters a team of spider people charged with protecting its very existence. When the heroes clash on how to handle a new threat, Miles must redefine what it means to be a hero.
Now, loved the first one. Obviously, that's a 5 out of 5 movie for me, and it always will be. That's just one of those ones that if I want to feel something, and it's got some great hype moments and great animation, I go to that. This one, I liked a lot. I'm not going to say love, because I want to watch it again, because this movie cuts off at a spot that I wish it didn't, but now that I know that where it cuts off at, I think I can enjoy the movie more. Because of course this is a part 1 of a part 2, which is the end of the trilogy is the part 2 and the finale of it all. But I still really, really, really enjoyed it. I gave this a 4.5 stars. Because this, I don't know if I've ever seen animation be so cool in a movie before. This did some crazy and fun things. There were some subtle tones that if I say it, I'll spoil some things. But there were color choices. Make sure you pay attention to the color choices because they give hints of things. But several people stole this movie for me. Of course, Jake Johnson is back as Spider-Man, Peter B. Parker, which was great. But Oscar Isaac, you can't go without this movie without saying how great Oscar Isaac was. And I loved in this movie, in the first one, they did the whole, when you met a new spider person, they got a comic book cover treatment, and you kind of learn a little bit of their backstory. The first movie, you learn a lot about people's backstories. This one's just kind of a glimpse. But all in all, a great film. A lot of really fun cameos. I did not think we were getting some of these cameos. There was one that I hit you and my brother at because it was very exciting. Did not expect it whatsoever based off of one thing that happened in this person's career. And it was very, very, very cool that they put that in there twice. we saw this certain character.
We we should point out too that keep your eyes open. There is live action
Hmm.
pops up in this.
So not the way people think though.
Right.
It's but really well done how they did. And man, this one did pull on heartstrings. I want to watch it again. I really do want to watch this movie again. I don't know if it's gonna be in theaters. I already did pre-order the Steelbook, but because man, that's something else I got to gripe about. Food prices in movie theaters are ridiculous. A small Diet Pepsi, which I know gross. I know I'm a Diet Coke man. Of course, you see all my Diet Coke merch everywhere. And a bag of M&Ms, $15. Never mind. I don't get it. I don't know why I do that to myself every time.
Yeah.
Anyways,
So let me. I need a reminder here. There was another name in the credits.
hmm
I can't remember who it was now. And we looked at each other like, who were they in the movie?
Uncle Aaron. It was Uncle
Yeah.
Aaron in the first movie, and I completely forgot until I looked it up at the end.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
which only had a couple lines this episode. Well, this movie.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, just really good. Again, really good casting.
mhm.
All the voice work was great. No surprise. I mean, it's out there, of course, that Gwen Stacy is in this.
Mhm.
Haley Steinfeld,
Killing it.
the one that
Killing
voiced
it.
the character. Um, I'm just like you. The animation's fantastic. The comic book style. Um, I just the only thing that I would say knocks it down for me is it was what, like 2 hours and 16
Yeah.
minutes, and we don't even get the full story.
Mhm.
We got to wait till March to see it finished. So
Luckily, only until March, though. I do want to point that
Yeah.
out. Luckily,
yeah,
because I would be so mad if we have to wait a long time after of where it leaves everything. I wonder how long the third one's going to be, though, because I don't feel like
30
there's
minutes.
that much more.
45 minutes.
Yeah, there's like we could wrap this up pretty easily. I don't know how they will, but
As much as I enjoyed it, it really, like, that last 30 to 40 minutes of the film is where it really picks up.
oh man, the
And
train scene is
Yeah.
the only thing I'm going to mention. Phenomenal. Like every beat, the story beat, the music, the animation, wonderful. Like every single bit of it was great.
I knew that we were getting toward the end, and I kept waiting. I was like, oh, they're gonna
Yeah,
wrap
we can wrap this up
right.
real easy.
They're gonna wrap this up, and by the time they do end it, you're caught up
Mm-hmm.
in what's going on, and you don't want to see it end. But like I said, it's over 2 hours to that
Yeah.
point, and it kind of is an abrupt ending. It's you get a shot of a character, and then to be continued
Yep.
across the screen.
The classic comic to be
Like-
continued in yellow.
Like, oh, really?
I know. I mean, I understand that's what they're going for as far as the cliffhanger is concerned, and to make people come back and watch the third one. But I mean, this is already making some great money. I think. Let me see. Let's see what the box office is for this week. Box office.
I kind because I'm old enough to remember the backlash when this is what they did with the second Pirates of the Caribbean.
Mm.
'Cause they filmed 2 and 3 back to back, and they saw it as one big story, and they had this long movie, and they didn't give people a conclusion,
Right.
and people were pissed. And
Mm-hmm.
now that wasn't done a lot back then, and it's been done more since, so maybe there won't be that kind of backlash. But I also understand that some people probably will be frustrated to sit in the theater for over 2 hours and you don't get a conclusion to the
Yeah.
story you watch.
I mean, I want to watch it again just strictly because of I know where it ends, so I could kind of enjoy it a little bit more.
Yeah.
Let's see. For domestic, I had 120.5 million this weekend. which is the second biggest opening weekend of the year, which is behind another animated film, the Super Mario Brothers movie, which had 146. Which this is the third biggest opening for any Spider-Man film. Let's see. I want to go down, make sure. So in worldwide, 208.6 million, which is more than the first movie made in its entire box office run. Which is crazy. Which is exactly how it should be. Let's see. Yeah, the opening weekend for the first one had 35.5 million. So pretty much tripled it. Let's see, it's ending its run with 190 million in North America and 384 globally. So okay, that was wrong. I was absolutely wrong. Just ignore me.
And
so,
you know what's interesting too about this is the theater that we were in. Now, Marvel movies are really for all ages, right? I mean, it's comic book movies.
Yeah.
It's nothing to see a 5-year-old in a Marvel movie, especially if you're me and you're really wanting to focus on the film.
That's all you can hear because they just constantly talk.
Yeah. What's happening now, Mommy? Yeah, stuff like that. But hey, their kids are cute, right?
Future of the world, Chris.
Future of the world. There were more kids in this than there were in the other Marvel movies that we've gone to, no matter what time of day we've gone.
A lot of kids, including my own, Miles Morales is their Spider-Man, is their generation of Spider-Man. Which, because I saw an article about this, and I sat down and thought about it, it really is. We've got Tom Holland, but that's still for kids this generation. There was a Spider-Man show, I forget, Spidey Web or something like that, which is on Disney, which Stella loves. And when she sees Miles Morales, she calls him Spider-Man because that's who she grew up with. And then Gwen Stacy's Ghost Spider. And I'm just like, that's just something I never thought about.
Yeah.
Because we were playing the Spider-Man game. Well, she's watching me play it, and she wants me to wear the black and red suit. She says that's Spider-Man suit. I'm like, okay. So I'm like, I see it's Miles Morales' suit. She goes, no, that's anyways. So just it's fun to think about. So that might be why. And the first movie was great, and it is pretty kid friendly.
Yeah.
For the most part. If you don't count the little dying undertones there.
Right.
So,
I want to watch it when it hits streaming because they have so many Spider-Men.
Right? And I can't wait for everyone to pause it and be able to tell us each and every one of them.
Yeah. So one that I remember from when I was a kid. And you may be familiar. Some people aren't. Some people aren't familiar with the character of Sleepwalker. He had his own comic series for a minute back in the day, and they had him team up with Spider-Man, right? And one of the comic covers had them both in Spidey suits. So I'm curious if I go back and really look in the background if he's in there anywhere.
Yeah, well, they had over 100. So I think that there's, because I know that some of them said they had to create some of their own because they ran out of Spider-Man to put in the movie. Which, if there's a Spider-Man that it's in it. That's all I can say. Spider-Ham, which he was in the first one, and he's back in this one. You can see him just for a second. Of course, the Spider-Verse one from Spider-Man from the Spider-Man video games is in it. And pointed out, and he was in it multiple times. I don't want to spoil some of these little fun cameos. But pay attention to certain things. Pay attention to the scenes. Pay attention to the artwork going on around things. But next week, I'm really excited to talk about it next week because of all the cameos. And I'm going to look up Easter egg stuff because people will have seen this multiple times and put up articles of everyone that they've seen. So I'm excited to talk about that.
All in all, really good movie. 4.5.
Yes.
For me.
That's 4.5 from you, 4.5 from me as well. Not quite that 5, but still not a bad movie.
And really, I might have gone to a 5. And I know I've said this about some other movies. but for the runtime.
Yeah.
If I'm going to sit there for quite a bit over 2 hours,
Give me the damn payoff.
right?
That's a long time to not have a payoff.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Because we won't get the payoff to the end of the third movie, which is probably going to be another 2 hours. So you're giving me 4 hours of entertainment before I get the payoff.
Next time I'm just going to include them, watch them back to back. So don't have to worry about it anymore. Just a real long Netflix show.
Next week, some film. I don't think Tyler's ever seen this one.
Never.
Iron Man.
Iron Man backpacks, Secret of Iron Man books, Iron Man comics, Iron Man plushie, Love You 3000 thing here.
Probably got Iron Man underoos back there.
I mean, Iron Man tattoo. I mean, I could keep going here. Let's see. Iron Man fidget spinner. I mean, I've got, let's see. There's an Iron Man poster here. Iron Man poster there. I've never liked that film.
No.
So, never had an impact on my life whatsoever.
They got your Iron Man poster. And...
I've got Iron Man and everything. Yes, it is right here. Which we ever found out what this was for? Was it sword? I think is what it was. But, anyways, got that there.
Yeah. So we'll do Iron Man next week. No news this week. But we do have a new release to mention here, and that is in theaters June 9, Transformers Rise of the Beasts.
Still going. I need to made the joke in the previews. I need to rewatch all the Transformers just for. It's like Fast and the Furious. They're just those dumb, like high budget action movies that are just great. Great to.
Well, how
word
about
use.
great?
Video games, Chris. What you been playing?
Just my usual.
Yeah. I played Destiny some. Not a big video game week, actually. I think that was it. Wow, just been real busy weekend. But Diablo 4 comes out. Nobody releases. Diablo 4 comes out on everything. It hit early access this past week, but it comes out tomorrow at 6. So I'm going to play a lot of it this week. As far as news goes, nothing crazy. Summer Game Fest kicks off this Thursday. That's the new E3. Ubisoft is next Mondays. Xbox Showcase is next Sunday.
Days of Play is live.
Days of Play is live. So if you're looking for some good discounts, it is on there. So I still need to go check that out. I'll do it probably tomorrow morning. But, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for this week's episode of the Nerdwide Podcast. We really hope you enjoyed this one. We hope you watched Across the Spiderverse. If you did, let us know in the comments what you thought about what your rating is. And, of course, don't forget to mention what your douche canoe and hero of the week is from our shows. Don't forget to share on all your favorite social media platforms, and forget to rate and review this podcast, whatever podcasting service you do use. On social media, you can follow us at Nerdwide at Nerd_Wide. You can follow me personally at Ty_Haynes, and you can follow Chris at MathTN7. On Facebook, search up Nerdwide Podcast, Nerdwide, Nerdwide.com. We're always the first thing that pops up on whatever those searches are. Either one of those on Twitter or Facebook are the fastest way for you guys to get news from us, unless it's the episode. But as always, this has been this week's episode of the Nerdwide Podcast, and we cannot wait to talk to you about a small film called Iron Man next week and spoiler-filled Across the Spiderverse. Cameos and spoilers, so you have been warned. It's full on next week, and we'll see you then.
Later, guys.